let's just listen to some personal growth stuff.
Every choice that you make comes with a trade-off. Money is an invitation to critical thinking. You can afford anything, but not everything. So if there's something that you value, whether it's travel, food, or a house, you can have that thing. You just can't have an endless series of ands. You might not be able to have that thing and something else and something else and something else. And that doesn't just apply to your money, that applies to your time, your focus, your energy, your attention, any limited resource. And life is the ultimate limited resource. So when you practice being better at managing your money, you practice being better at managing your life. My name is Paula Pant. I am the host of the Afford Anything podcast. I want to help you reach financial independence by making smarter decisions with your money. The mistake that I see a lot of people make when they start asking questions about how to manage their money is that oftentimes people will ask a question about a product or a tactic. So for example, they might say, should I use this app? Or should I invest in cryptocurrency? First principles thinking is stripping away everything and really getting to the root of something. So if you think about a tree, the tactics and the products are like the leaves of a tree. That's the most visible surface. So of course, it's what people might ask about first. But first, let's start with the roots of that tree. The roots of that tree are your values. It's that question of what matters most. And then from those roots stem that trunk of the tree, which is your philosophy of life, the type of life that you want to lead. And from that philosophy, then your objective or your goals. How does that philosophy of living translate into specific goals? That's really that tree trunk. From there, you go out into the branches of the tree, and they represent the strategy. Now that you know your philosophy of living, you know your goals, now you can come up with strategies for how to obtain those goals. And then once you have that strategy in place, then those leaves are the tactics and the products. So if you're starting with the question about tactic or product, you've got a leaf in your hand, but you don't have that root system built yet. When personal finance is framed in the context of delayed gratification so that you can have more money when you're 75 years old, it's really hard to get excited about that. But when we reframe that as financial independence and how taking better care of your money leads to this flourishing of freedom, of opportunity, of choice, that becomes much more enticing. FI is the point at which your potential passive income, money that comes to you when you're sleeping, typically through investments, is enough to cover your basic bills. And the reason that matters is because then endless options open up for you. You have the freedom to do whatever you want, whether that's to stay in your current profession, make a midlife career change, become a full-time parent, or travel the world. Whatever choice you want to make, you're able to make that without having to sweat about how you're going to keep the lights on, how you're going to keep the fridge stocked.
It's worth it, yeah.
The pursuit of FI is for everyone, but the first steps that you're going to take will differ depending on where you are in your journey. There are really only 3 steps to achieving financial independence.
All right, what's those steps?
Grow the gap, invest the gap, repeat.
Grow the gap. I love how she broke that down. I always said it like this. You need margin. Whatever you do in life, whatever you do for a living, okay, whatever you do for a living, become a top 10% earner in that field. I don't care if you're a plumber. I don't care if you're a hairstylist. I don't care if you're a barber. Become a top 10% earner. And then do not change your lifestyle. It can improve a little bit by being organized. People should still be able to take 1 or 2 vacations a year just through what they spend on their credit cards if they have discipline. And so you don't need to spend more money to have a better lifestyle. You just need to be more disciplined. The top 10% of earners, right? Let's say in your field is $150,000 a year. Get there. And let's say right now you're living on $60,000 a year. Beautiful. Now you have this gap. I call it margin. That's your profit margin. Well, that's $90K in this instance, in this example. And so imagine investing $90,000 a year every single year. if you know how to invest. That's the biggest problem. Money's not your problem a lot of times, guys, because if you knew what to do with the money and you had conviction, you would be excited to get the money because every dollar you made, you knew was going to turn into 10. You know what I'm saying? So you have to learn where to put the money into. You have to invest it, but you got to know what to invest it in and find out what's best for you. I started out with businesses, then real estate and the stock market. But my main focus was businesses for many years. I was just putting this in there. New barbershop, another barbershop, another barbershop, more products, more products, more products. Buy another business. Start the accounting firm. Buy another business. And then every year or every 1 or 2 years, I was buying a piece of property, buying a piece of property, buying a piece of property, you know what I mean? And then all of this money that I was making, I was also putting it into the stock market. And that becomes a huge snowball. And it compounds, guys. And it compounds. That's what she's telling you. You know, it's not difficult. The hardest part is the discipline to learn what you need to learn. Like, these live streams are dead because people don't want to learn this shit. It's hard to try to learn this stuff. And it's hard to show up to this stuff because the whole world ain't showing up. We'd rather watch somebody eating look at this, Korean chicken versus Southern chicken. Shit got 2.1 million views. Now that sounds entertaining. Anyways, let's keep going.
Grow the gap means to grow the gap between what you earn and what you spend. And there are only two ways to increase that gap: earn more or spend less, or both. If you don't make very much, like me when I was in my first job out of college making $21,000 a year, at that stage of life, your goal is to increase your income. If you're already making big dollars, but you have a spending problem, the low-hanging fruit is to curb that spending problem and to address the root psychological issues that are leading to that spending problem. Step 2 is to then invest that gap. My personal feeling is that everyone should aim to save and invest at least 20% of their income. And when I say save and invest, that includes making additional payments towards a debt above and beyond the minimum required, retirement savings, investments in an investment account. It includes building up your emergency fund. Start with a goal of saving 20%, and if you're nowhere close to that, increase your savings rate by 1%, and do that every month or two. It will take a few years, but you will, over time, get to that 20% mark. And then step 3 is repeat. This is a lifetime practice. This is not a quick hit or something that's going to happen overnight. Money management happens for life. There has never been a point in history when the world has not been volatile. 100 years ago, there was also a pandemic going on, and there was a First World War.
Good point.
A decade later, the Great Depression. After that was World War II. After that, event after event after event that affected the entire globe. I came to FI because I was scared and anxious about the volatility in my life and the world. My response to that was to become obsessed with saving as much as I could because it allowed me to not be so scared of the future. It felt psychologically comforting to have these savings. Change is the nature of the world, the nature of time. And so if you're looking out at the big global factors that are happening in the world today, and you're feeling fear, embrace it and use that fear as motivation, as fuel to make wise decisions about how you spend your money, your time, your effort. That's how you build a life that's more intentional. And there's a lot of joy in that.
Get smarter, faster with videos from the world's biggest thinkers.
This is really cool. I love this channel. Big Think. What a great channel. What a great freaking channel. It's just, man, it's not easy, guys. I get it. But I got to tell you, man, you have to do it. You've got to get it done, bro. Go open a brokerage account and just use it as your savings account for now. You don't even got to invest no money, but at least you'll have money in a brokerage account. And that's the first step. Let's see. How many Americans have a brokerage account? 35%. As far as households are concerned, 21%. And the reason why the just individuals is higher is because you can imagine if someone in a household has an account, there's probably multiple people in that household that has a brokerage account. But only 21% of homes in America, of households in America, have a brokerage account. Only 21%. And this is why people are all signed up for the retire when you're 60 plan. Because the only way that that people are investing is through their 401ks or their pensions, and for people who are self-employed, nothing. There's people who are self-employed and don't pay any FICA into any self-employment taxes, so they won't even be able to retire on Social Security. What the hell is wrong with you? Crazy, man.